Well, we marched through week 11, so let's get to the recap. Hey, all you YouTube junkies. Well, we nailed week 11. It was a pretty good week overall. Finished pretty strong. My long run was a bit of a fail. I'm not sure why, but my long ride on Saturday was good. So overall, good week. Let's get to the summary on the distances. My swim, 3,900 yards in the pool, had a bike of 71.4 miles, and the run was 15 miles even. Total work time of 7 hours and 31 minutes. So, as you can tell, a little bit lower volume as we've talked about. Conditions that we had this week, volume was down like we had started the week before a little bit in prep for my run race next Sunday. And so everything's been a little bit easier, a little bit lighter. My long run, like I mentioned, was a bit of a beatdown. I think it was humid. I mean, it was definitely humid. I think the humidity may have been the culprit. May have been under-fueled. Maybe wasn't paying attention to my caloric intake over the week. And, maybe I was a little dehydrated or underhydrated. A combination of things. Sometimes it's just that way. You get workouts that are just bad. But you just let them go and go to the next one and move forward. So it is still pretty humid and rainy. I'm praying that is kind of going away. The weather is cooling a little bit, so I think we're going to get past some of this. It's hurricane weather, hurricane season, and so there's just all bets are off on kind of what to expect. But it's October. We really ought to be cooling off. So injury update, no real issues to speak of. I mentioned last week that my neck was a little stiff, maybe from the aero position on some of these longer rides. I don't know if cause or effect, but it has this week really hadn't been a problem. Again, lower volume, maybe that's allows it to heal up a little bit. Like I mentioned in past tips, injury, just let it go, forget about it, and it'll go away. And that's pretty much what's happened. Shoulder has been fine, lower volume again. Just it's just not putting pressure on it, so it's it's there, but it's not painful, and so it's not been an issue. So summary, sort of starting to taper a little bit. Again, this run race that I'm doing next Sunday is not really I'm not treating it as a race because 10 mile, I just have not trained for that distance. So my pace is simply not going to be there. But, I don't have any illusions of trying to PR or anything. But I do want to try to push a little bit on the second half of the run and maybe bring my pace down a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. Once we're past the race, we'll get back to reality and start training for 140.6 miles again. So we'll get past it. So that's it. So far, so good. Week 11 was overall a good week. So my Ironman tip of the week this week is compression gear. Okay. So for you folks who are new to endurance training, new to Ironman, new to triathlon, you may not be familiar with compression gear, but used correctly, it can really be beneficial during a workout and for recovery and injury recovery. So it's a great tool to have in your triathlon bag. Part of the reason, so I'll go over a little bit about what compression is and why it's useful. Part of the reason that your muscles, and when I think about triathlon, it's really lower body. So part of the reason that you have muscle fatigue, you get sore, you get injury over time if you're really training hard, is because your your muscles, your heart's pumping oxygenated blood through your system to your muscles, to your tissues that are working. And as you work those muscles to the point of exhaustion, you start depleting that oxygen in that blood, and your blood flow is not able to properly or efficiently regenerate or send oxygenated blood to that tissue. It's also trying to carry away excess lactic acid and other waste product from the work. And so as a result, your muscles fatigue, they get sore, and you're doing some long runs, long bikes, or maybe some high intensity work, speed work. You know what I'm talking about. And so compression sleeves, I've got some examples of sleeves and stuff. This is a calf sleeve that you can tell has, I don't know if you can see that, but you've got materials, the material is cut in a certain way, and that promotes blood flow from the lower part of your leg up, and so it's tighter at lower, and then it is not quite as tight as you get up into the calf. It helps promote kind of works to offset the effects of gravity and gets that blood flowing back to your heart. These are socks, as you can tell, has the calf and the sock, as it all works as compression. It may just look like a sock, but it's actually pretty complex and scientific. This is a foot sleeve. Dealing with my plantar issues, it helped to support my arch and give some support to that plantar area. All of these are compression, and what compression does is it helps promote blood flow, increase blood flow through your tissues, through your muscles and other tissues that are working. Okay. It also helps to dilate your arteries, and what that does is allow for more volume of blood flow per unit of time. That helps obviously to get oxygenated blood passing through those tissues more quickly, hence increased recovery time or shortened recovery time. Let's see. So injuries, I have not, I'm going to be honest, I have not used compression during an injury, although I have had a knee issue a few years ago, and I did use a compression sleeve mainly for stability. I just felt a little safer with it on, but I think the byproduct of that is probably did help blood flow, and as you can imagine, with an injury, you have swelling, you have decreased blood flow, but due to the swelling, and so compression will certainly help dilate those arteries and allow blood flow and oxygen to get to that tissue, help it heal. So compression really is an effective tool, because as you're adding miles and volume in your training, you just don't have as much recovery time, even though you're taking a recovery day or whatever. And as it gets closer to those really high build volume weeks, 100-mile rides, 12, 15-mile runs, back to back, it just wears you down. Compression is a great tool to use to help combat the fatigue. So that's it. My summary of that is to give compression gear a try. You can wear these, the socks not so much, but you can wear these sleeves during workouts and certainly post-workout. These socks are great post-workout because the blood flow, these are tightest at your foot, and then it gets lighter as you go up the calf. And again, it helps get that blood flowing from the very tips of your toes all the way back up, and fights that gravity. And anyways, very effective. It really, I'm going to say, next day you're feeling, maybe not fresh, but you're feeling way better than you would otherwise. So what I would also suggest before I finish up, do your research. If you're going to go try some compression out, there are a bunch of companies that provide these products, and all of them have multiple products, different sleeves and socks that do very specific things. Some are for workout, some are post workout, and are unique in their design. So just kind of read up on it before you go and spend some money on this, and know what you're buying. But uh, highly recommend it. So that's my Ironman tip of the week. Hope it helped. Well, I want to thank you for watching. I want to remind you that we're doing these videos and we're training for Ironman to help raise funds and awareness for Tying Vines, which is a U.S. nonprofit that does humanitarian work for Syrian refugees in Lebanon. So if you want to learn more about our cause and our fundraising effort, be sure and check out my links in the description below. Be sure and like the video and tell your friends about it if you have anyone who is interested in triathlon or Ironman. You can hit the subscribe button if you want to follow us, watch our other videos and get tips and topics that we talk about. That's about it. So thank you again for watching, and we will see you next time.